Okay, so it's
Take him in custody.
And then your license?
Geyser.
G-U, what is it?
Geyser.
November 2025, a truck stop in Posen, Illinois, about 200 miles south of Madison, Wisconsin. Two people huddle outside in the freezing night. One of them is clutching a stuffed dog toy, shivering intensely. Police officers approach after receiving a loitering complaint. The woman with the toy looks terrified. When asked for identification, she refuses. She gives a fake name, then another. Officers grow suspicious.
I don't know why I have to do this.
Because I don't believe you're 23. That's why. Okay? We got called here for a call. So just be honest. I want to make sure that you're not missing. As long as you're not missing, you can go on your way.
She's evasive, nervous, clearly hiding something. The officers don't know it yet, but they've just apprehended one of the most infamous attempted murderers in recent American history.
What's your last name?
Reese.
How do you spell it?
I-E-S.
I-E-S?
No, G-R-I-E-S.
Okay. G-R-I-E-S. What's your first name?
Stephanie.
How do you spell it?
E-P-H-I-N-E.
E-P-H-I...
A-N-I-E, sorry.
A-N-I-E.
She gives them a fake name, Stephanie Grease, a fake birthday. The lie won't hold.
Please let her go.
Then give me your name.
I did something wrong. She didn't.
What did you
She
do
doesn't
wrong?
know what I did.
Finally, she breaks. She writes her real name on an officer's notepad, Morgan Geyser. The officers run it through their system. What comes back sends chills down their spines.
I think she's saying that it's really, really bad. So the only really thing bad is you'll never see me again. Is I hope she didn't commit a homicide. Because the way she's talking, she's saying that that's really, really bad.
This is Morgan Geyser, now 23 years old. 11 years earlier, when she was just 12, she committed one of the most disturbing crimes. She lured her best friend into the woods and stabbed her 19 times, all because of a fictional internet character named Slender Man. Her victim survived by millimeters. Morgan was institutionalized. But in 2025, a judge granted her conditional release. Just months later, she cut off her GPS bracelet and escaped. And tonight, we're going to tell you the full story, from the horrifying attack that shocked the nation to the escape that put her back behind bars. May 31st, 2014, Waukesha, Wisconsin, a quiet Milwaukee suburb where, as one person later said, "What bad stuff happens in Waukesha?" The answer came around 9:55 that morning when a cyclist named Greg Steinberg was riding along Big Bend Road near David's Park. What he discovered would become a nightmare no one could forget. On that spring morning, three 12-year-old girls had a sleepover. Morgan Geyser and Anissa Weier were hosting their classmate and friend, Payton Leutner. They ate breakfast, played, laughed, ordinary 6th grade fun. Then they decided to go to a nearby park, David's Park, to play hide and seek in the woods. But this wasn't an ordinary game. Morgan and Anissa had been planning something for months. Something unthinkable. As they entered the wooded area, Morgan pulled out a 5-inch kitchen knife she'd hidden in her waistband. The two girls attacked Payton without warning, forcing her to the ground. Morgan stabbed her friend 19 times, targeting her arms, legs, chest, diaphragm, liver, and stomach. One wound came within less than a millimeter of a major heart artery. 1 millimeter. The attack was frenzied, brutal, and methodical all at once. When they were finished, Morgan and Anissa told Payton to lie still and be quiet while they supposedly went for help. Then they left her there, bleeding out in the dirt, and walked away.
He came upon a 12-year-old female. She appears to be stabbed.
She appears to be what?
Stabbed.
Stabbed?
Correct.
Okay.
Sir, you still there?
Yes.
Hi, sir. So, are you with this 12-year-old female?
Yeah, she says she's having trouble breathing. She said she was stabbed multiple times.
But Payton Leutner didn't die. Severely wounded, terrified, and alone, she managed to crawl from the woods to a nearby path where a cyclist found her and immediately called 911. Payton was rushed to the hospital where she underwent 6 hours of emergency surgery. Doctors said if the knife had penetrated just 1 millimeter deeper, she wouldn't have survived. She spent 7 days in the hospital and incredibly returned to school that September. But the question everyone was asking was, why? What could possibly motivate a 12-year-old girl to do this to her best friend? While Payton fought for her life, police were searching for two missing girls, Morgan Geyser and Anissa Weier, both 12 years old. Around 3 p.m. that afternoon, approximately 5 hours after the attack, Waukesha County Sheriff's Lieutenant Paul Renkus spotted them near Interstate 94, about 5 miles from the crime scene. They were walking along the highway, dirty and calm. When questioned, Morgan admitted there was a knife in her bag. She told the officer she had been forced to stab her best friend to death. The girls were taken into custody without incident. In Morgan's backpack, police found the weapon, a 5-inch kitchen knife covered in blood. They also discovered something deeply disturbing. The girls said they were on their way to a mansion, not just any mansion. They planned to walk 200 miles to the Chequamegon-Nicolet National Forest to reach what they called Slender Man's mansion. The interrogations that followed revealed a motive that no one saw coming. Back at the Waukesha Police Department, Morgan Geyser and Anissa Weier were questioned separately. Both girls waived their Miranda rights. What they told detectives was chilling.
This website called the Creepypasta Wiki. Okay. It's full of horror stories that are meant to purposely scare you, and there's one of them called Slender Man.
They did it for Slender Man. Slender Man is a fictional character born from internet creepypasta folklore, depicted as an impossibly tall, faceless figure in a black suit who stalks and abducts children. He was created in 2009 as part of an online Photoshop contest and evolved into an internet phenomenon, spawning countless stories, images, and fan fiction across forums and websites. But for Morgan Geyser and Anissa Weier, Slender Man wasn't fiction. They believed he was real.
He has these proxies, or servants, as people call them, and Morgan said, "Hey, Anissa, we should be proxies." And I was like, "Okay, how would we do that?" She said, "We have to kill Bella."
Morgan Geyser had become deeply obsessed with Slender Man and creepypasta culture starting in 2013. She believed he was real, she believed he was watching her, and she believed that if she didn't prove her loyalty to him by killing someone, he would harm her family.
How many times do you think you stabbed her?
I don't know. It happened very quickly. All I heard was screaming. I said, "I'm sorry. This had to happen." And she was like, "Why?" And then I said that it was necessary.
Morgan Geyser was calm and emotionless during her interrogation. Detective Thomas Casey questioned her for hours. She admitted to stabbing Payton 19 times. When asked about her intent, Morgan stated plainly, "Kill her. I might as well just say it. We were trying to kill her." She explained that she didn't want to do it, but felt she had no choice. "I was afraid of what would happen if I didn't. I didn't want to find out what would happen if we didn't." She described the act as necessary to please Slender Man and protect their families. According to investigators, Morgan and Anissa had planned to walk from the crime scene all the way to the Chequamegon-Nicolet National Forest, over 100 miles north, where they believed Slender Man lived in a mansion. By killing Payton, they believed they would become his proxies, his devoted servants, and he would accept them into his mansion where they would live with him forever. It sounds like the delusion of children playing pretend. Except it wasn't pretend. Payton Leutner was fighting for her life in a hospital, and 2 12-year-old girls were being charged with attempted first-degree intentional homicide. In a separate room, Anissa Weier provided a corroborating account. Detective Michelle Trussoni interviewed her, and Anissa was more animated, even excited at points. "I was excited because I wanted proof that he existed because there were a bunch of skeptics out there saying he didn't exist." She compared their attack to lionesses chasing down a zebra. She would tackle Payton while Morgan did the stabbing. But the most disturbing revelation was that this wasn't a spontaneous act. The girls had been planning this murder for 6 months, since December 2013. They discussed multiple methods. One plan involved duct taping Payton's mouth and stabbing her in her sleep. Another involved killing her in a drained park bathroom. They ultimately decided to do it during a birthday sleepover in the woods. The night before the attack, everything seemed normal. It was Friday, May 30th, 2014, Morgan Geyser's 12th birthday. Payton Leutner was so excited to celebrate with her best friend. The 3 girls, Morgan, Anissa, and Payton, had a sleepover at Morgan's house. They played in Morgan's bedroom, ran up and down the stairs, giggling and laughing. Payton's mother later said it was just a normal night. But the next morning, Morgan and Anissa suggested they go to David's Park to play hide and seek. Once they were deep in the woods, Anissa told Payton to lie on the ground and cover herself with sticks and leaves. Payton thought it was just part of the game, but it was a trick.
And do you remember when it started?
Kind of. I didn't feel anything because my body was in shock.
Payton later explained in a 2019 interview that she didn't feel the stabs at first because her body went into shock. Morgan stabbed her repeatedly while Anissa watched and encouraged. When Payton screamed and begged them to stop, they told her to lie down because you'll lose blood slower. They said they were going to get help, but they didn't. They ran.
And they told her they were going to go get her help, but Anissa flat out said, no, we weren't getting her help. We wanted her to die.
I got up and then just walked until I hit a patch of grass where I could lay down.
Bleeding out and alone, Payton summoned every ounce of strength she had left and crawled toward the road. That's where Greg Steinberg found her. That's where her life was saved. As investigators and mental health professionals began evaluating Morgan Geyser, a disturbing picture emerged. In October 2014, doctors at Winnebago Mental Health Institute diagnosed her with early-onset childhood schizophrenia. When detectives searched Morgan's home, what they found was deeply disturbing. In her bedroom, investigators discovered mutilated Barbie dolls, skinned, with limbs removed, and marked with the Slender Man symbol. They found dozens of drawings depicting Slender Man, death, and violence. Her computer showed searches for how to get away with murder and what kind of insane am I. There was even an email instructing someone to delete browser history.
An enduring, predominant belief in Slender Man, the reality of Slender Man, a fictional figure. Morgan's belief in Vulcan mind control, and her belief, conviction, that she has relationships with Harry Potter characters, although she believes they're real people.
Doctors discovered she had been experiencing lifelong hallucinations, seeing ghosts, imaginary friends named Maggie and Sev, a figure she called It, and colors melting down walls. She suffered from delusions involving not just Slender Man, but other fictional characters like Voldemort from Harry Potter. Her grip on reality had been tenuous for years, but no one had recognized the signs. No one had diagnosed her. No one had treated her. Without medication, her psychosis had been allowed to develop and intensify throughout her childhood. By the time she encountered Slender Man online, her untreated schizophrenia latched onto this fictional entity and transformed it into something she genuinely believed was real, powerful, and dangerous. Her father, Matthew Geyser, had been diagnosed with schizophrenia as a teenager, experiencing his own hospitalizations around age 14 or 15. Mental illness ran in her family. Anissa Weier, on the other hand, was not diagnosed with schizophrenia. Experts would later describe what happened between Morgan and Anissa as a shared delusional disorder, folie à deux. Defense psychologist Melissa Westendorf testified that their friendship became a perfect storm. Morgan's undiagnosed schizophrenia fed Anissa's belief system, and together they reinforced each other's conviction that Slender Man was real and that murder was necessary. As a 12-year-old with an underdeveloped brain, Anissa couldn't critically analyze Morgan's beliefs and adopted them as her own. On June 2, 2014, both girls were charged as adults with attempted first-degree intentional homicide. Under Wisconsin law, because of the severity of the crime, they couldn't be tried in juvenile court. If convicted, they faced up to 60 years in prison. The case sparked a national debate. Should 12-year-olds be tried as adults? Were they cold-blooded killers or mentally ill children who didn't understand their actions? The interrogation videos fueled the controversy.
Morgan was cold. Morgan seemed completely unremorseful. Morgan seemed quite intelligent and quite manipulative.
In her interrogation, Morgan showed no emotion, no guilt, and no remorse. She calmly described the attack, even calling the plan flawless. Anissa, while also disturbing, showed a tiny level of remorse and came across more like a child. But both girls' fates would ultimately hinge on their mental health. At her sentencing hearing in February 2018, Morgan addressed the court and her victim directly. Through tears, she said, "I just want to let Bella and her family know I'm sorry. I never meant this to happen, and I hope that she's doing well." Both girls entered guilty pleas but were found not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect under Wisconsin law. This meant they wouldn't go to prison. They would be committed to psychiatric institutions. Anissa Weier was committed to a mental health facility for up to 25 years. Morgan Geyser received the maximum possible commitment, 40 years, meaning she could remain institutionalized until age 52, with the possibility of extensions. Appeals filed by Morgan's defense team between 2020 and 2021, arguing she should have been tried as a juvenile, were denied. Morgan was sent to Winnebago Mental Health Institute near Oshkosh, Wisconsin, where she began receiving treatment with antipsychotic medications. For years, her psychosis had been allowed to run unchecked. Now, for the first time in her life, she was being medicated. Payton Leutner's mother, Stacy, submitted a written victim impact statement that was read in court. In it, she described her daughter's physical scars, permanent reminders etched across her body, and the psychological scars that ran even deeper. Payton, she said, slept with scissors under her pillow for protection. She was afraid. She had nightmares. She struggled with trust. In 2019, Payton gave her first and only public interview to ABC News. She was composed, strong, and remarkably forgiving. She said the attack had inspired her to pursue a career in medicine. She wanted to help people the way doctors had helped save her life. She also said she didn't hate Morgan and Anissa. She understood they were sick, but that understanding didn't erase her trauma.
Do you feel like you're a survivor?
Yeah, I shouldn't be alive. I really shouldn't after what happened.
Years passed. Morgan remained at Winnebago, receiving treatment, taking her medications, and slowly stabilizing. Her co-defendant, Anissa Weier, had a different trajectory. After about 7 years of institutionalization, Anissa was granted conditional release in September 2021. Her release came with strict conditions: GPS monitoring, mandatory psychiatric treatment, no internet or social media access, living with her father under supervision, and no contact with Payton Leutner until 2039. In 2023, her GPS monitoring was removed. As of 2025, she remains under supervision and is expected to remain so until age 37. By all accounts, her conditional release has been successful. Morgan watched from inside Winnebago as her former friend returned to the world, and she began to wonder, when would it be her turn? Morgan filed her first petition for conditional release years ago, but withdrew it. Her attorneys likely advised her that she wasn't ready yet, that making the request prematurely could hurt her chances in the future. She petitioned again in April 2024. That petition was denied. But in 2025, things changed. In January 2025, Morgan Geyser, now 23 years old, filed another petition for conditional release. This time, mental health experts testified that she had made significant progress. She had been taking antipsychotic medication consistently, had gained insight into her delusions, and showed remorse. During these proceedings, Morgan also came out as a transgender man. On July 17, 2025, Waukesha County Circuit Judge Scott Wagner approved her conditional release to a supervised group home. Decision came despite strong opposition from the Wisconsin Department of Health Services, who argued Morgan could not be trusted in the community. Placement proved difficult. Facilities in Milwaukee, Manitowoc, and Sun Prairie rejected her due to publicity and safety concerns. Eventually, she was placed in a group home in Madison, Wisconsin around September 2025. Her conditions included GPS monitoring, mandatory psychiatric treatment, ongoing reevaluations, and no unsupervised contact until 2058. But freedom didn't last long. While in the group home, Morgan met a 43-year-old transgender woman named Chad Charlie Mecca at church. They became close friends and saw each other daily, but the group home soon restricted their contact, prohibiting further visits. According to Mecca, Morgan felt mistreated at the home and expressed suicidal thoughts, saying she was ready to drink bleach before meeting Mecca. On the evening of November 22, 2025, around 8:15 p.m., Morgan cut off her GPS monitoring bracelet and fled the Madison group home with Mecca. They took a Greyhound bus from Wisconsin to Chicago, then traveled south to Posen, Illinois. They may have been heading to Nashville, Tennessee. Less than 24 hours later, around 9 p.m. on November 23, 2025, Posen police located them at a Thornton's truck stop on Western Avenue. An employee had called 911 about two people sleeping outside in the cold. The body camera footage from that arrest is haunting.
No problem. I just want to make sure you guys have someone place to want to stay.
No, we're always.
How old are you?
I'm 23.
23?
Yeah.
How old is he?
She's transgender. She's
Oh, how old is she? 23?
Morgan is clutching a stuffed dog toy, shivering in the freezing night air. A notebook titled Homeless Couple's Guidebook is visible in their belongings. When officers ask for identification, Morgan refuses. She gives a fake name, Stephanie Grease. Officers don't believe her.
You don't want to obstruct an officer. Give them your name and date of birth. You're not wanted for murder, right?
Right.
Officers threaten arrest for loitering, criminal trespassing, and obstructing identification. Morgan continues lying. Finally, after being told she'll be taken to the station for fingerprinting, she breaks down.
Detain her. Detain her.
Please let her go.
Then
Please let her go.
Then give them your name.
I did something wrong. She did.
What did you do?
She doesn't
wrong?
know what I did.
Okay, that's fine. I ain't.
Let me talk to you again.
What is it that you did wrong?
I did something really wrong.
Morgan is visibly distraught and protective of Mecca, repeatedly insisting Mecca didn't know her real name or what she had done. She begs the officers to let Mecca go.
Let me say goodbye, please.
Okay, we will.
I will never see her again.
Yeah, you will.
No, I won't.
Why?
Because I did something bad. Let me say goodbye.
When officers finally confirm her identity, Morgan sobs in the squad car. Mecca was cited for criminal trespassing and obstructing identification but released shortly after. No criminal charges were filed against Morgan for the escape. In Wisconsin, violations of conditional release for those found not guilty by reason of mental disease are handled as civil matters, not criminal ones. On November 25, 2025, the Wisconsin Department of Health Services filed a sealed petition to revoke Morgan's conditional release. Morgan was held in custody awaiting a hearing. The state argued the escape proved she wasn't ready for community placement. During Payton Leutner's escape, her family issued a statement confirming they were safe and cooperating with law enforcement. They had been kept informed throughout the manhunt. The question everyone asked was, why? Why would Morgan, after waiting so long for freedom, throw it all away after just 2 months? We may never know the full answer. Her attorney, Tony Cotton, filed a letter on December 17, 2025, stating that Morgan had discussed the revocation petition with him and elected not to contest it. Cotton acknowledged that fighting it would likely be unsuccessful given the circumstances.
I don't think you're quite there yet. And I think that if we make this move now, that it could hurt you down the road in terms of you trying to get out in, say, a couple of years where, you know, we've got better reports. You know, if we go in and fail on this one, it'll reflect negatively and it'll give the judge pause, you know.
As of December 18, 2025, the waiver clears the path for Judge Wagner to revoke her conditional release and return her to secure institutional care at Winnebago Mental Health Institute. Her original 40-year commitment remains in place, meaning she can petition for release again in the future, potentially within 6 months, but the escape will weigh heavily against any future petitions. On December 18, 2025, the court approved Morgan's waiver of the revocation hearing. A hearing was originally scheduled for February 16, 2026, but the waiver likely eliminates the need for a contested proceeding. Judge Wagner is expected to revoke her conditional release imminently and return her to institutional care at Winnebago Mental Health Institute. Morgan reportedly requested to be returned to Winnebago, and the state did not object. She's already been transported from jail back to the psychiatric facility. Morgan Geyser's original 40-year commitment remains unchanged. She is eligible to petition for conditional release again in as little as 6 months, though the escape will undoubtedly weigh heavily against any future petitions. Experts predict it could be years before another release is seriously considered.
You know, I mean, if it's a violent crime that's similar to this in nature, I mean, I'm sure she'll be getting a max penalty because, I mean, at that point, we'll have realized, oh man, wow, she fooled us all. You know, when she got out, she fooled the doctors. It's a real threat to society at large. And I think that they would definitely throw the book, especially if it's a crime of like extreme violence like this. I mean, at that point, you know, God forbid. I mean, I hope that's not the case. I hope that she's right. You know, I hope that they've been able to help her mentally, and I hope that she's in a good space.
The case has reopened difficult questions. Was Morgan released too soon? Was the Department of Health Services correct in their initial opposition? Or was the escape a momentary lapse, a 23-year-old woman making a bad decision under pressure rather than evidence of ongoing danger? As of December 2025, Morgan Geyser is back where she started, inside Winnebago Mental Health Institute, the facility that has been her home for most of her life since age 12. This case forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about mental illness, the criminal justice system, and the dangers lurking in our digital age. In 2025, Morgan publicly came out as a transgender man, adding another layer of complexity to understanding her identity and journey. It's a detail that reminds us she's not just a case file or a headline. She's a human being, however troubled, trying to make sense of who she is. Morgan Geyser was 11 years old when she discovered Slender Man. She was 12 when she stabbed her best friend 19 times. She has now spent more than half her life, 13 years, in psychiatric custody. She's 23 years old and has known nothing but institutions since middle school. Is she dangerous? Is she rehabilitated? Can someone who committed such an act at such a young age ever truly be trusted to rejoin society? We don't have easy answers. What we do have are facts: a victim who survived against all odds, 2 perpetrators diagnosed with severe mental illness, a justice system struggling to balance punishment with treatment, and a society grappling with how to protect children from the darkest corners of the internet.